I was going to try to be clever and say that I'm not backing any of these, but I'm backing at least 2, although to be fair, they are expansions. Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and this is going to be upcoming Kickstarters for August, or those usual Kickstarters means Kickstarters and Gamefounds, and also some backer kits that we're going to be going over. Although before we dive into that, as usual, a reminder that to check out more up-to-date information, make sure to check out Clutter. Clutter over here, I'll throw a link down below. He has up-to-date information on all these Kickstarters. Every single week a video goes up. Kickstarters coming for this week, Gamefounds coming for this week, all the things coming for this week, and his information is more accurate for a variety of reasons. First of all, it's more recent. It covers all the various changes that happen throughout the month, the things that got pushed off, the things that get delayed, the things that get added. Usually my videos at most have like half to like 60, maybe 65% of stuff, because things are frequently added, changed, and adjusted as the month goes on. And secondly is he includes more. Because these videos covering an entire month, I try to be a bit more selective and not cover every single campaign, but rather the things that I think are going to be the most interesting. But that does mean that he'll have more things, so if you want to be fully in the know, make sure to check out Clutter. I'll throw a link down below. And with that, let's go ahead and start this off. As usual, I'll have dates and links and all those things down below, so if you want to see the exact date that's coming and all of that. And again, things change, and some of these are tentative, and we'll just start going through it. Starting off with Dungeons of Doria. Dungeons of Doria is going to be a roguelike dungeon crawler game for 1 to 6 players, giving you single shot mode, giving you a campaign mode, giving you a whole bunch of options. This has been on Board Game Geek since like with a 2013 date, so this thing has been around for a long time in some way, shape, and form. Although it looks like it's coming back to Kickstarter, or coming to Kickstarter. I'll have a link to all the Kickstarter pages down below, but you can check out this, dungeon crawler roguelike, both campaign, singular, modular board, all these different things going on in Dungeons of Doria. We then have Wicked Ones and Undead Awakening, the offset print run, which this is an RPG, so I don't have a lot of information about this one, but this is an RPG from Wicked Ones, which is based on a whole different system. It's a whole bunch of RPG-related things that I don't have quite as much information on. We have 535. 535 is going to be a push-your-luck trick-taking game. This game already exists. You can see the 2020 release date over here, but this is bringing you the English version of 535, a game which you're going to be playing sets of cards at a time as you're going through both trick-taking and push-your-luck. I like both those mechanics. I used to not like trick-taking. Right now I like trick-taking. I've always liked push-your-luck, but it's going to be 535 coming to Kickstarter. We have Foundations of Rome. This is the first of the 2 expansions that I'm definitely going to be backing. Everything else I'm trying to resist. I'm trying to have more self-control because I have too many games. But anyways, the Foundations of Rome and the Roads of Fortune expansion, this is going to be coming to Backer Kit. This is going to be a game that does, Foundations of Rome is a polyomino game that already exists. I love it. It's been well rated in general. Lots of people love it. I'm sure you can find people who don't love it. Make sure to check out those critical reviews, because this is a big and expensive game, so make sure to find the critical reviews to make sure this is a game for you. Personally speaking, I think it's a great game, but I do think it's very expensive, and I think a big selling part is just how much of a premium product it is. When you put this on the table, it feels like you're building out a city, and the deluxeification definitely adds to my opinion and enjoyment of the experience. That said, Roads of Fortune is going to be an expansion that fits into the base box, so if you want to fit it all into your giant box, this somehow fits. I don't know the details or the how, but it's going to come to Gamefound or Kickstarter. This might be coming to Kickstarter. It says Kickstarter over here, although I thought this was a Gamefound one, so maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is on Kickstarter. Look at me launching August 2nd. I totally thought this was on Gamefound. I'm back again, I mean. But no, I'm not seeing that here. So yeah, this is going to be the Roads of Fortune and Foundations of Rome. If you missed this is your opportunity to jump in on it. I do highly recommend it, and I specifically recommend Sundrop. It's going to cost you more, so factor that in. But to me, visually speaking, it adds so much to the feeling and the deluxeification of this game on the table. Then we have Leviathans, a 2012 title that is apparently coming back to Kickstarter with some changes, some reprints, some things, some adjustments. This is coming to you from Catalyst Games. This is a skirmish game of area combat, a steampunk-based aerial combat, and this has been around since 2012. I mean, this is an older game with a gigantic box with the British and the France expansion, I believe. It's been a while since I saw this one. We have the British and the French fleet box over here, but in some way, shape, or form, coming back to Kickstarter. I don't know the changes made. They have a whole blog with all these updates and everything. You can read through that if you just Google Catalyst Games Leviathans and find their blog. There's a whole lot of information to go through to see if this is one that's for you. Then we have Atma role-playing card game Season 2. Atma is a game that's simulating a role-playing game. It's a little bit role-playing with enough guidance that it could be more accessible. So it's a good entry point into RPGs if that's something you're interested in. I believe the Dice Tower have a playthrough of this one. I have Season 1. I need to play it. Hopefully before the Kickstarter is up, we'll see. But it basically simulates an RPG. You can play this as 2 players, with one person playing as the DM, with the prompts, with the cards. The other players try to figure out how to navigate through the particular adventure they have, what things to try, what situations are developing, to utilize their characters Trailblazers. It's a guided RPG, so again, a good first step into the RPG world. If it's something you're not familiar with and you want something that feels a bit board gamery, but still has RPG elements, the Atma should deliver that in a, well, Season 2 box that's compatible with Season 1, but also standalone on its own. We have Fishing Lessons from Button Shy Games, a Scott Alm solo game. I assume it doesn't actually say Simply Solo, so it may not be part of the Simply Solo line. But for context, we have Button Shy Games that give you wallet games. We have Scott Alms, who's a designer in many companies, does many things. And then we have the Simply Solo line within Button Shy, which is a collection of Button Shy games designed by Scott Alms, although I don't know if that's part of it, but so far designed by Scott Alms, that are solo friendly as well. So Button Shy and Scott Alms and solo friendly results in the Simply Solo line. This one does not say Simply Solo, so perhaps it isn't. But this is giving you a game of a fisherman in some way reconnecting with his family with a degree of programmed movement. I'm very curious how they're going to do that with 18 cards, but in general, Button Shy tends to deliver on those, so we'll see. And there's also going to be new unsurmountable expansions for that, as well as other expansions for Food Chain Island, for Ugly Griffin Inn, which are all Simply Solo games. So maybe this is a Simply Solo game. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, from there we have Amygdala. Amygdala from Gamefound Games. This is one that was a cancellation and relaunch. I assume they're coming back with some difference in price. There's a big deal on this one, was this campaign did not do as well as they were hoping, and a big part of that was the pushback on how expensive the game was, because the game was not cheap, or at least didn't feel cheap contrasted with the components you got. I assume they're making some sort of change to the price point and or to what you get and or to the components. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but we'll see. This is going to be coming to you. This is like an abstract strategy game connecting the various parts of the amygdala, the brain, and all those things. I don't know how it plays at all, but it's coming to you from Michael Kiesling and Wolfgang Kramer, same designers as Azul, and this is the Gamefound edition, and it'll be coming to Kickstarter, Gamefound, coming to Gamefound shortly. Then we have Project Ironwood, a $399 Swedish design board game table. This is coming from Cloud Puncher Games. This was one that was supposed to launch in July. I did cover this last month, but they got pushed off in some way, shape, or form. We have a whole bunch of people following this campaign, which makes sense because they're promising you a $400 game table, which if they can actually do that, obviously they're not factoring in shipping. I'm assuming they're not factoring in shipping. I'm assuming that's without all the toppers and the questions and all the things that make a game more expensive. But if they can deliver a $400 game table, that is very compelling. We'll just have to see what the actual final price is on the bare minimal end. Like, with shipping, how much is this? Is it 600? Is it 500? Is it 700? I don't know. Is there something required? I assume so. We'll see. But we'll see. I'm very curious to see how well this one does. I imagine it does well, but I'm very curious to see this one. Then we have Kinfire Chronicles Night's Fall. A 1-to-4 player cooperative quest-based RPG board game. It's giving you a whole bunch of taking on the role of seekers across 15 quests. Each of them going to be like 45 to 60 minutes, so giving you a whole lot of content for the game. It's like acrylic standees over here. I'm curious to see how this one does. This is Kinfire Chronicles. Don't know much about what specific aspects separate this from other games, but quest-based RPG adventure, 15 campaigns, 15 missions, Kinfire Chronicles. Then we have Dead Reckoning Letters of Marque from AEG. This is going to be one of the other games, or the only other game that I'm sure I'm backing. With Dead Reckoning coming, this is going to be Letters of Marque expansion. Letters of Marque is going to be bringing you a few new gameplay elements to Dead Reckoning, including multiple tracks as you try to get these Letters of Marque from different nations, as you try to vie for favor in these nations, getting bonuses along the way, giving you a whole bunch of hidden types of treasures and different goods you can use to cash in for favor with those nations, or to just use them for their one-time effects. Whole bunch of things going on gameplay mechanics-wise as far as that goes, but then also giving you an entirely new saga to dive into in case you are done with your first two sagas and you want more of a third saga. And yes, you could jump straight into this one without having played the first two sagas, so you can go ahead and get this as a standalone on its own, and of course it's an opportunity to get Dead Reckoning as well at the same time. This is going to be the second campaign I'm definitely backing. To be very clear, don't take my resistance to backing things right now as any evidence against the rest of these campaigns, because this is just about me trying to have more self-control even when I want some of these things. Then we have Ivion. Ivion, the hero crafting card game. This was a Kickstarter last year. They're coming back to Kickstarter with a Season 2. I'll have a link to that down below. But Ivion is a hero crafting card game. Got high praise from the Dice Tower, from Tom Vassell over here. Although, again, testimonials, always take them with a grain of salt. To take it at the right situation, the right context, can always sound better than they actually are. But this is Ivion. Hero crafting, 2-player, 45 minutes, hero crafting card game. And they're going to have a Season 2. From there, we have Nanolith, the cyberpunk RPG board game. Nanolith is going to be bringing you, let's see if we can scroll down over here. Here we go. Nanolith. What is Nanolith? It's a cyberpunk dungeon crawling, role-playing elements. So again, a whole bunch of combinations of things as far as you're going here. Adventure, RPG, different books that will be guiding through. It's going to have an adventure mode and a story mode, kind of similar to games like Oathsworn, the way they're doing that. The way they're handling both story and actual game mechanics at the same time by having a tiered system going back and forth between the two. This is Nanolith will be coming to Kickstarter very shortly. Then we have Forsaken. Forsaken from Game Trace. This is going to be Game Trace's first board game. Forsaken is think Western Legends plus. Think Western Legends and then some. This is bringing you a space-themed Western-based game as you wander around from location to location across 3 planets as you try to go down your own character's backstory and deal with the sandbox adventure mode that it provides. Each character having their own backstory, each character having their own goals you're going for. The characters all interweaving in terms of how their stories will interact with each other's, not necessarily from a story point, but from the way that they're going to interact on the same planet, engaging with different elements, having different ways that they interact, different things that they'll be fighting each other, fighting the game state. Again, think Western Legends in terms of the sandbox adventure mode, but with very different mechanics and a whole lot more story background to it, and a solo mode as well. This is Forsaken coming from Game Trace, and of course, it will have a lot of Game Trace related things. Then we have Trailblazers from Ryan Courtney. Ryan Courtney, designer of Pipeline, designer of Curious Cargo. Trailblazers is going to be a hiking game, although it does seem to be very heavily leaning into pipes again. I mean, call me, I don't know, but this very much looks like these are just pipes in the nature of trails. Ryan Courtney clearly likes his pipes. I'm not complaining. I do want to play this game. I do want to see this one. This is one of the ones that has me tempted, that I'm hoping I can hold strong on this one. But it looks very cool, and it does have those pipes, and honestly, the pipes part of Pipeline was my favorite part of Pipeline. So if you made a game around my favorite part of Pipeline, well, I'm curious what the game actually shows up as and how it actually plays, but that's not a bad thing to me. Pipeline, for context, was a game that was not for me, but the pipe element was easily my favorite part, so I'm intrigued by this one. Trailblazers from Ryan Courtney. Create the longest hiking, biking, and kayaking paths, but don't get lost out there. You always got to find your way back to camp. Then we have the Red Dragon Inn, Battle for Greyport, Chaos in Copperforge. Red Dragon Inn is, the series of, I don't even know how the game plays. I've never played the Red Dragon Inn. Battle for Greyport is the cooperative deck building game based on the Red Dragon Inn universe, and Chaos in Copperforge will be coming to Kickstarter to further expand upon that, well, cooperative deck building game in the Red Dragon Inn universe. Then we have Atlas Lost, Rise of the New Sovereigns. I know nothing about this game. Nothing at all. I looked it up briefly on Board Game Geek. Discover orbital technology, form a great community collapsing world, a civilization board game by Tatsuka Chuo. It has tableau building elements, has a whole lot of stuff. I couldn't find concrete information on this one past the BG description, so I don't have a lot here. But 1,500 followers is enough for me to say, hey, if you're interested in Atlas Lost in some way, shape, or form, this is something. We'll see what something actually means, but this is something to add to your list. 45 to 90 minutes, 14 plus, 2 to 4 players. There's a game here. That's what I can say confidently. There's a game here. Then we have The Fog, Escape from Paradise. This is a relaunch campaign. It's coming to you August 30th. It's going to be a relaunch from The Fog. The Fog launched several months back and then unfortunately had to cancel. But this is going to be a relaunch campaign. The basic idea is you're trying to navigate with these various tokens who are trying to escape the various boats by using your various abilities to navigate and manipulate and adjust them all. But The Fog, Escape from Paradise, coming to Kickstarter August 30th. We have Almost Innocent from Matago and Friends. Almost Innocent is from Colossal. I believe this one coming from Colossal, if I'm not mistaken. Colossal and Matago. It looks like maybe Colossal and something else. I don't know. It's Colossal, but it's Almost Innocent. Almost Innocent is a game of, well, trying to prove your innocence through deduction. This is a cooperative deduction game which you've been accused. You must prove your innocence. You're going to have a table here. It's going to be a scenario-based deduction game in which you have your specific table or grid or whatever that will be laid out based on the scenario, and then you're going to be trying to utilize the mechanics to try to prove you're innocent. Every single turn you're going to be able to ask questions that will apply to everyone at the table, and then you'll all take turns answering the question until you eventually figure out the information, because you have the information of the player to your left or right or one of those two. You have some of the information at the table, and you'll be answering the questions for the other players. So players will ask things like, was this piece of evidence used in row 3, or how many things relate to my case in row 4? You're going to be asking questions like that while people slowly whittle down and deduce what's there. Combine that with some various role abilities, some various modular abilities, and the scenario-based progression, and you have a scenario-based progression deduction game with other things that keep the gameplay interesting in theory. That's Almost Innocent from Colossal Games. We have Mushroom Sorcerer. This is another one that I don't have a lot of information on. This company's brought a few things to Kickstarter, a few different other games that haven't really been on my radar, but Mushroom Sorcerer game looks cute, and that's as far as I have. That's what I have. And we have a bunch of people following the campaign, and yeah, look at this. Look, this looks cute. This looks cute. I have no idea if the game's good or not, but this certainly looks compelling from the picture alone. Then we have Peacock. What's it? This is why I have Peacock. I don't have Peacock. Peacock Tabletops. That's why. Peacock Tabletops bringing you Materia Prima board game, The Inquisition. This is a game that came out a while ago with an expansion. It's coming to Kickstarter, or maybe this is the expansion, the Inquisition expansion, coming to Kickstarter in August supposedly. We'll see whether this one launches or not, but it currently says for August, so we'll see. Expansion to Materia something or other. Materia Prime. I don't know what the base game's called. Materia Prime. And then lastly, we have Queen's Dilemma. This is a tentative August August date. I mean, anything could theoretically change, but this one is more so than others. I don't have a firm date on this one. I think this one is coming in August, but I'm not sure. This was announced way back in 2021, then kept getting pushed off. I believe it's currently coming to August. This is a further iteration on the King's Dilemma. Very popular game. This is gonna be the next step in that progression. Not the exact same game, but sharing mechanics. Play as your own character with personal branching storylines, secret objectives, an evolving map, an improved legacy system, new political paradigm, and updating voting mechanisms. So basically, King's Dilemma with changes. King's Dilemma was a game which you followed your character or your character's lineage or whatever through multiple games as you all played together, trying to figure out the political navigation of the engine. Very well rated, very well liked, and this one is continuing that with changes and iterations and improvements. And that's what we currently have for August, tentatively. As of right now, I'm hoping to only back those 2 expansions. I really do have Trailblazers strongly calling my name. It looks very compelling. I don't know. For me, the only thing that's going to save me on this is if I convince myself that I'll get it at retail. So we'll try that one out. And there's a few others that might tempt me. There's a few others here that definitely might tempt me. We'll just have to see if I hold strong or not. And then as a reminder, make sure to stay subscribed. Make sure to subscribe to Clutter. I'll throw a link down below. He will have the most up-to-date information on all these campaigns coming to you every single week with more information and more accuracy and more precision. And you can check that out by subscribing to him. And that's basically everything. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. And until next time, I hope you have a good one.